back. But joining me now is Lauren Windsor. She is the person behind those recordings. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it. I guess, first of all, we just played a little bit of your interaction with Justice Alito. Let's play a little bit of your interaction with his wife, Martha Ann. There's been this controversy over the flag she's been flying at her house, at their house in Virginia and their beach house in New Jersey. Let's play a little bit of that sound and talk about it on the other side.
You know what I want? I want a Sacred Heart of Jesus flag, because I have to look across the lagoon at the Pride flag for the next month.
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, please don't put up a flag. My heritage is German. You come after me, I'm going to give it back to you. And there will be a way. It doesn't have to be now, but there will be a way. They will know. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, Lauren, I mean, tell me about this. What was your reaction when you heard that from Mrs. Alito? And I guess if you could take us a little bit behind the scenes as to how you got them comfortable enough to express themselves in this fashion.
Thanks, Jim. So, when I heard the remarks from Ms. Alito, it was a common thread was a need for vengeance, a desire for vengeance that kind of came up throughout the conversation. And it seems like it had sort of a time implication to it. So at the very beginning of the conversation, she talks about a 5-year statute of limitations. And presumably, she would not be bringing a defamation suit against the media while Justice Alito is still sitting on the bench. He is 74 years old. And I think that there is some, eye on his retirement. Now, given Justice Alito's ideological tendencies, I don't think that he would be willing to retire under a Democratic president. So it kind of reading between the lines there, there's a bit of I think an assumption on her part that there would be a Trump presidency and that Justice Alito would be able to retire. So that's kind of more context there.
Yeah.
In terms of getting, I mean, is that your read on it too? I mean, it seems like if you're talking about bringing suit against a media organization, I don't think that a sitting justice's wife would do that, but.
Yeah, I mean, she sounds awfully feisty in your conversations with her. And what did you make of Justice Alito's comment that one side or the other is going to win? I mean, it didn't sound like he's in a compromising mood these days.
No, I think, and I did talk to him twice. So I talked to him in 2023 and then again in 2024. And in his initial conversation with me, he was much more guarded, when I asked him how we repair the polarization in this country, he said that he didn't know, that he didn't think there was necessarily a role. But, that was before ProPublica sort of turned their spotlight to him, but after they had published their reporting on Clarence Thomas. So I suspected that over the last year, he would be more aggrieved having personally borne the brunt of a lot of media scrutiny. And I did feel like that was the case.
And Laura, let's ask about the elephant in the room here. I mean, how did you, I guess, first of all, at the beginning of this segment, I described you as a liberal activist and you posed as a conservative to, I guess, get some of this comment from the Alitos. How did you obtain these recordings, and what do you say to folks who take issue with misrepresenting who you are and going in there and getting these recordings?
Well, so they're audio recordings. There's nothing illegal in D.C. about recording people so long as one person is a party to that conversation. It's called one-party consent. There's no recording allowed inside the Supreme Court itself, like the courtroom, not the outer, parts of the building where we were. There's not a prohibition from the Supreme Court recording there. To people who want to pearl clutch about this, please tell me how we're going to get answers when the Supreme Court has been shrouded in secrecy and really just refusing any degree of accountability whatsoever, particularly in the face of, what are very extraordinarily serious ethics breaches on, mainly, like, and most famously on the part of Clarence Thomas with, his acceptance of, big donor Harlan Crow. Is a big donor, big GOP donor, Harlan Crow, buying his mother's house, paying for his nephew's tuition, very extravagant trips. And, if it were extravagant trips alone, I don't think we'd be having this story about Clarence Thomas's, gift ethics and lack of disclosure. But we're talking about buying his mother's house.
But yeah, Lauren, why not just go up and maybe it's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe they wouldn't talk to you if you said, "I'm Lauren Windsor, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. Can you speak into my collar here?" But I mean, why not be a bit more upfront? Do you have any qualms about saying basically what they want to hear to get them to start talking, or do you feel like that was basically the only way to do it? We've seen you do this in a number of other instances.
I do think it was the only way to do it. And, part of the reason that I understand there's a certain sense of decorum around the Supreme Court, but this country right now is at a crossroads where, we're trying to decide. And much of this is, being led by the Supreme Court, but it's, are we going to continue our tradition of secular democracy? Or are we going to be led to Christian theocracy by this Supreme Court? And, in the tradition of the legal watchers who watch the Supreme Court, it would be called the Roberts Court. But I think it's much more appropriate these days to be calling it the Leo Court, given that he's had a hand in, getting the Supreme Court to the makeup where it currently is with religious extremists.
All right. Well, Lauren Windsor, your sound has certainly got people talking. Really appreciate the time. We'll have you back and keep talking about this. Let us know. Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much. And folks should stay tuned. We have another story to break today.
All right. We'll do. All right. Thanks a lot, Lauren. Appreciate it. We'll be right back. Just a few moments. Stay with us.